Greetings to all the forces. I hope you guys are all well, and thank you very much for tuning in again this week. Before we start, I'd like to firstly acknowledge that I haven't been posting a lot. Actually, since I started the channel, I haven't been posting a lot. But from next week, I'll try to post. Actually, I'm going to do it. I'll post 2 times a week, because I'm informed on a lot of things. I just don't have time to make the content, but that problem is going to be solved. This week, we're going to look at the MK Party Vs IEC case. As some of you might be aware that Jacob Zuma has scored an unexpected win against the IEC. Secondly, we're also going to look at the Zing dollar, the new Zimbabwean currency, which was introduced on the 8th of April and apparently is trading stronger compared to the rand. As you all might be aware, Jacob Zuma has been going to court a lot lately. Umsholozi has won his second case in a space of a month, although this was a case against the IEC, but we all know its impact on especially the African National Congress and the economic freedom fighters, not forgetting all other parties that will be running for elections. So on Tuesday, the 9th of April, the Electoral Court made a landmark ruling which granted the MK party leave to appeal and overturned the objection against Jacob Zuma's candidacy to become a member of parliament. So in a court order, the court stated that the application for leave to appeal is granted. The appeal succeeds. This decision sets aside the objection raised by Dr. Maroba Matsapola against Mr. Zuma's candidacy, affirming that the objection is hereby dismissed. So, on the 29th of May, we will see Jacob Zuma's name and face on the ballot paper as he is cleared to contest to become a member of parliament in this 2024 elections. So, just to give a quick background, so a while ago, a member of the public objected to Jacob Zuma's nomination, and the IEC upheld the objection, which then led to the MK party appealing in this matter. The objection was primarily based on Section 47 of the Constitution, which states that anyone who has been convicted and sentenced to a period of 12 months is ineligible to run or stand for parliament. And that led to Jacob Zuma being banned on the ballot paper by the IEC. However, as of Tuesday, 9 April, this is very interesting. As of Tuesday, 9 April 2024, the decision has been overturned. We are just waiting for the full judgment to be published for the public view. And also just to see the reasoning of the court behind the judgment. And that's part of the reason I also took time to record this video, because I was waiting for the full judgment to be published. However, it's kind of taking time. So maybe when the judgment is published and then there's some juicy stuff, I can sort of do a review and just summarize the case, But for now, we're just going to look at the arguments that were provided by the MK party, represented by the one and only Dali Mpofu. The MK party appealed to the Electoral Court and argued that the IEC actually, by banning Jacob Zuma from participating in the election, acted beyond its powers when they implemented Section 47 of the Constitution, which, as I said, was relied on to disqualify Jacob Zuma, since he was sentenced to, I think, 15 months in prison in 2021 for being in contempt of court. To be quite honest, Dali Mpofu's arguments are very impressive, and this man actually knows the law, and I think his level of legal interpretation is really unmatched. On this case, Mpofu said the point that they were trying to make was that the IEC does not have, he made it clear, the IEC does not have the authority, or actually it must tell the court where it gets the authority to implement Section 47. So, and if you look at the Constitution, in terms of Section 190, subsection 1 of the Constitution, the IEC's role is to manage election at all levels of government to ensure that elections are free and fair, and lastly, to declare the result of elections. So you get Dali Mpofu's argument. There's nothing said in this particular section about the IEC doing screening to check who's fit and not for parliament. That's the role of the National Assembly, and the IEC must remain within the framework, within the electoral framework, which does not allow the IEC to make such determination and remove members from the candidate list. And that's the argument that was submitted by MK, represented by Dali Mpofu. And secondly, MK raised an argument that Jacob Zuma's conviction is not the one which is envisaged by the Constitution, Section 47 in particular. And the third argument, which is a very interesting argument, which was raised by MK, as well as I said, represented by Dalimpov, is the remission of the sentence which made the sentence of Jacob Zuma 3 months and no longer 15 months. Mpofu contended that Jacob Zuma was qualified to run in the election due to his remission and the fact that he had completed only 3 months of his 15-month sentence. As you all might remember, Jacob Zuma did not stay in prison for 15 months as he was sentenced for 15 months in prison. He only stayed for 3 months, and he was released as part of a remission plan which was aimed at reducing prison overcrowding. It seems like Ramaphosa's decisions are actually coming back to bite him, because he's the one who signed and agreed that Jacob Zuma should be released. So Dali argued that Ramaphosa had given Zuma remission rather than a pardon. So he was given, which means the sentence was actually cancelled. In court, he said, quoting, what we are saying is that if he was pardoned, then this argument will not stand. But the effect of remission has been clearly defined as to cancel the sentence. In this case, the ultimate sentence as a result of the remission is 3 months. Once the sentence is set aside, whether as a result of remission, it is set aside. So those are the argument that the MK relied on to get a victory against the IEC. And if you were to ask me, I'll say those are pretty much very good arguments. As I said, Dali's interpretation of the law is really unmatched. And if you look at the section 47 of the Constitution says that if you have been convicted for more than 12 months, for more than 12 months, you cannot stand for parliament. And then they are bringing this argument that no, there was a remission. And if you look at the word remission means to cancel. So after Jacob Zuma stayed in prison for 3 months, then there was a cancellation of his sentence. So which means that actually, if you look at it, if we interpret it clearly, it means the sentence has been reduced, to 3 months. But Tembeka Ngogayitobi say this argument is kind of bizarre, because what actually stands is what the court said. The court said 15 months, so that's what actually stands. And I think that was a pretty much good response to that. But the court has decided that. So what are some of the consequences of this judgment? I think some are very clear. Number one is the precedent setting. The ruling sets a very good precedent for future cases involving the eligibility of candidates who are running for election. It clarifies the interpretation of constitutional provision and further elaborates on laws shaping the legal framework governing political parties' participation in South Africa. And the second one will be the impact on political dynamics. Zuma's reinstatement opens up the possibility of Zuma's reinstatement opens up the possibility of his active involvement in the political arena. His campaign will continue to obviously grow, and his face and name on the ballot paper can create a very significant change on the polls. Remember when MK was started, and Jacob Zuma said he's going to vote for MK, a lot of people started to rally behind him. It's like, okay, we're also going to go with Ubaba because we trust him. His decisions is good for us, something like that. And then later on, the news come out that Jacob Zuma will no longer be running, won't be on the ballot paper, and he won't be in parliament in 2024. And a lot of people actually, this discouraged a lot of people, because the primary reason most people actually chose MK is because of Jacob Zuma. Hence, the ANC are actually mad about that, but that's the truth. So when the news came out that he won't be in parliament in 2024, a lot of people were discouraged, But now that is clear that he's going to be on the ballot paper. His face will be there, his name will be there, and he will be in parliament in 2024, which I'm not sure about, because then he might have won the IEC case, but then there's National Assembly to deal with. But then, like as I said, so a lot of people were discouraged, but now people are going to start to gain back their motivation to vote for MK Party, because it's very clear that Zuma, they are convinced that Zuma is going to be on the ballot and he will be on parliament. So it's going to gain a lot of people who were discouraged, will now gain the motivation. And someone has tweeted that this decision is very good because a lot of people who did not know who to vote for and then were lost, especially in the KZN, in other political parties, will now find their home at MK, which is very interesting. And I believe that's actually true because a lot of people don't know who to vote for. They didn't know. And some just chose parties because because of not being sure. But now Zuma is back, and I think that a lot of people will now vote for MK. Will MK win the election because of this judgment? I really doubt that MK is going to win the election, and this is based on a multiple reasons. Firstly, the MK I don't think is really strong enough to take on the African National Congress. You know, you need if you want to beat the ANC, you need numbers. ANC has a lot of numbers, and MK is very strong in KZN, and it's gonna give ANC a run for their money in KZN. Definitely, that's one I don't have a doubt about. But them winning the national election, I really doubt. I think they will come third. They will come third. The DA is obviously going to drop because Steenhuisen is not performing well, and their policies are just garbage. You know, lately I even read the DA's manifesto, and the DA's manifesto is just, a response to the failures of the African National Congress. They don't even coming up with any new ideas, and the manifesto is very short. It's just a couple of pages. I forgot how many pages. But the DA is obviously going to drop. The EFF, I'm not really sure yet, but MK is going to come third or second. That's one I'm sure of. But I don't think they will win the national election. The judgment will, however, help the MK party to gain a lot of votes. Abogogo, they're gonna see Zuma on the ballot, and you know how our parents love Jacob Zuma, and they will obviously vote for him. And that's one thing that the ANC fears a lot. That's why they were really fighting with that MK, and they were wishing that Jacob Zuma won't be on the ballot, but he's gonna be on the ballot, and his face being on the ballot is actually going to gain them votes. And I think the MK party was really smart about it and very strategic. That's a very strategic move. And them fighting that hard for Jacob Zuma to be on the ballot was a very good move, But I don't really think that the MK party will win the 2024 elections. It's very rare that a party can be started in a couple of months and win the election. I don't really think that it's going to happen, but they're going to beat a lot of political organizations. And yeah, man, I don't really think they will win the elections. On the other news, for the sixth time, Zimbabwe is attempting to resuscitate its local currency. Zimbabwe's central bank has launched a very new structured currency, which will be backed up by gold as it seeks to tackle the high inflation rate and stabilize the country's floundering economy. As you all might be aware, that Zimbabwe's economy has been very bad in the past few years. So the new currency is called Zim Gold, ZIG. As I said, it will be backed up by foreign currencies, gold, and precious minerals. I really find this very interesting. Zimbabwe is not really backing down. I really love the spirit. So this currency has been trending a lot in South Africa, and so there's going to be some trade impacts, but there's going to be a lot of foreign investment if the currency continues to do well in Zimbabwe. If it continues to trade very good, as right now it's sitting at 13.45 compared to the dollar, and South African rand is sitting at 18 rand 65 cents against the dollar. So the Zim dollar is actually stronger than the South African dollar. That's part of the reason it has been trending a lot in South Africa. I was wondering what's happening, and I found that the primary reason it's trending is because it's doing well than the South African rand. But yeah, I'm not a currency guy. Just let me know, what do you think about this new currency, this new Zimbabwean currency? Do you think that it's going to continue to grow? And considering the fact that they're doing it for the sixth time, do you think that's it's going to continue to grow? And do you really think it's really a good idea for them? Just let me know what you think. I'm willing to engage with you guys and learn from you on the comment section. Otherwise, thank you very much for viewing. See you guys next week on Tuesday.